Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, Code of Conduct Bureau dismisses Justice Onoyen's no-case submission suit, orders him to open defense in his trial for alleged false assets declaration. Appeal Court dismisses High Court's judgment which declares as illegal levies imposed on Nigerian liquefied natural gas NLNG by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA, orders retrial of suit. Police arrest suspected kidnapper and killer of Imo State Magistrate Remi Ogu. And British parliamentarians reject Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit plan for the third time.
On Business News tonight, public companies to commence compliance with Corporate Governance Code from January 2020.
And on Sports News tonight, Super Falcons of Nigeria climbed to the 38th position in latest rankings of women's football playing nations by FIFA.
And from the nation's capital, President Muhammadu Buhari meets Christian and Islamic religious leaders in Asu Rock, promises to improve security of lives in the country.
Barring any last-minute changes or fresh judicial pronouncements from a superior court, the embattled Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoyen, will begin his defense over allegations of false assets declaration at the Code of Conduct Tribunal on Monday, April the 1st. That's because the Code of Conduct Tribunal today dismissed his no-case submission. The chairman of the tribunal, Mr. Danladi Umar, insists that the defense would give Justice Onoyen an opportunity to clear his name in the 6 counts of non-declaration of assets preferred against him. However, counsel to Justice Onoyen, Chief Adamawa, immediately filed a notice of appeal against the dismissal of the no-case submission.
It is the resumed hearing in the trial of the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoyen. At the proceedings, counsel to the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Chief Adeboyega Awomolo, argued that the Code of Conduct Bureau did not follow the standard operation procedures in instituting the case against Justice Onoyen. Chief Awomolo insisted that no investigation, no finding into the petition was carried out, as well as no legal opinion as required by the standard operational procedures of the Bureau. However, the prosecution opposed the submission, insisting that no one is above the law.
We addressed extensively for about 1.5 hours on 8 points. Why? Because 1, there was no investigation. 2, there was no compliance with the law which guides the tribunal. You see, we cannot fight corruption with corrupt process.
God has been helping Nigeria, and justice in this country has always been like this. And there will be no special treatment for anybody, anywhere in this country. The president is subject. He will have no immunity if he fails to declare his assets. Yes. He will have no immunity.
Following a ruling that the suspended chief judge has a case to answer, the 3-man panel of the tribunal, led by Mr. Danladi Umar, ordered Mr. Onoyen to enter his defense at the next adjourned date, which is April the 1st, 2019. However, that date did not go down well with the defense team, who expressed their displeasure to the chairman.
What we are seeing in this tribunal, very regrettably, is that the chairman has taken over the power of the other 2 members. He didn't allow them to talk. We pleaded with him. He rose up and left the court. He now imported his own evidence. He brought his own personal experience into judgment.
As for the exchange of words between the defense and the chairman, he had ordered long before now that this trial will go on from day to day, on the day-to-day basis. And the next day is Monday. And for somebody to be emotional and say, God help Nigeria and so on and so forth, is giving a dog a bad name to hang it. Because in all no-case submission, A judge has a right to write a bench ruling without even rising.
Yes. While Justice Onogen is expected to open his defense on Monday, April the 1st, his counsel have already filed a notice of appeal to the dismissal of the no-case submission.
Staying with the judiciary, the Court of Appeal sitting in Lagos today dismissed a judgment of the Federal High Court which declared as illegal levies imposed on the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas NLNG by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. NLNG had in 2013 approached the Federal High Court seeking a judicial determination of, among other things, the legality or otherwise of the levies sought to be imposed on it by NIMASA on behalf of the federal government and the consequent blockade of the Bonny Channel by NIMASA and its agents as a result of the dispute. In October 2013, the Federal High Court, Lagos, presided over by Justice Muhammad Idris, held that the NLNG was not liable to pay 3% gross freight on its international inbound and outbound cargoes, sea protection levy, 2% cabotage surcharge on all activities carried out for and on its behalf, as well as other sundry claims, as insisted by NIMASA. In a unanimous judgment delivered today, the three-man panel of the Court of Appeal, led by Justice Garuba Lawal, held that the Federal High Court was wrong. They therefore dismissed the judgment of the lower court for lack of fair hearing. The appeal court also ordered that the matter be taken back to the Federal High Court and be reassigned to another judge for retrial. A High Court in Adamawa State has dismissed the suit filed by the governorship candidate of the Movement for the Restoration of Defense of Democracy seeking the cancellation of the state's governorship election. Justice Abdulaziz Waziri struck out Mr. Eric Thieman's suit for lack of proof. In a 1-hour-long judgment, the judge held that Mr. Thieman failed to show that his party's logo was submitted from the Adamawa State governorship elections ballot papers. Counsel to the MRDD and its candidate says that the options available to his client include approaching the governorship election petition tribunal. In the meantime, the governor of Adamawa State, Mohammed Jibrila, has conceded defeat and congratulated the governor-elect of the state, Ahmadu Fintiri, who emerged winner at the just concluded governorship elections in the state. Mr. Fintiri of the People's Democratic Party polled 376,552 votes to defeat Governor Jibrila of the All Progressives Congress, who scored 336,386 votes. The governor-elect has dedicated his victory to his supporters and the people of the state, and he says that he has an 11-point agenda designed to transform Adamawa State for the better.
God has crowned it with the success that we have witnessed today, and I dedicate that to the good people of this state who has believed in me, who has gone around with me in the state, ensuring that they also endure and vote throughout this election. And we have seen their effort, and it has been declared. We have 11-point agenda, which we feel by the time we implement them fully, particularly during our midterm, you come back and ask me this question, we will have transformed this state for better. It is no longer news that the president has signed a minimum wage bill today. And that's the first thing I will ensure I implement, so that I make the civil servant happy, so that we implement the policy and program of my government together effectively for the betterment of our people and they themselves. I ask them to be calm while they are celebrating and ensure that they are law-abiding and await the ATM governor that will come 29th May 2019.
The Imo State Police Command has arrested one Friday in Nekezie from Oru, West Local Government Area of Imo State, suspected to be the killer of the late magistrate Remiogo of Oru, West Magistrate Court in Imo State. The Imo State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Dasuki Galadanchi, says that the suspect allegedly paid the sum of 500,000 naira to hired killers in Lagos who carried out the dastardly act. He says the suspects had helped the police with some information, and the command is on the trail of the remaining 3 suspects. Channels Television reported the kidnap and murder of the magistrate in November 2018, as well as protests by the Imo State chapter of the Nigeria Bar Association, calling on the police in the state to fish out the culprits.
The chief magistrate was murdered and his body was found with a milk-colored mask and an insignia of a secret society snap. Based on that, the command went into diligent investigation and eventually were able to arrest the principal suspect, who happens to be the husband of the clerk working under the chief magistrate. He hired three hired assassins from Lagos, brought them to Imo State because they are familiar with the terrain. They abducted the chief magistrate on 22nd November, and by 23rd, his body was found lying on the ground, covered with a mask, a tag on his hand with inscription SNAP 55, bullet wounds all over his body. And finally, the Prime Minister said Friday, Uneze, the husband of the clerk, that was now, he played the state. Eventually, he was arrested last week, and he admitted into the arrangement of hiring hired assassins from Lagos. Three of them, he gave them the sum of 500,000 with the sole aim to abduct the chief magistrate and killed him.
President Muhammad Buhari played host to some Christians and Muslim leaders at the State House in Abuja today with a promise to leave Nigeria better than he met it in 2015. The president's guests were at the villa for a congratulatory visit following his victory at the just concluded elections. The Christian leaders, however, asked the president to tackle insecurity and choose only the best brains from across the country to form his cabinet.
President Buhari arriving to meet with the leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria. While it's not their first meeting, this time they are united in victory.
To congratulate you for victory and for being the clear winner, Your Excellency.
The leadership of the Christian body is happy with the promise of an inclusive government, but want the president to go for the best. They urge the president to work for the release of Leah Sharibu and fight insecurity.
Our advice to you is to take your leadership beyond party politics. We were so happy listening to your speech after your election that you are going to run an all-inclusive government. Having been re-elected president, you have become the president of all. In view of this, we urge you to see yourself as father to all by embracing all.
Our success is the force.
On the quality of appointment into his next cabinet, President Buhari assures of balance.
In the area of allocation of political offices, our focus will be on merit and national suffrage, such that every part of Nigeria will have a sense of belonging.
The president also gave a commitment to leave Nigeria better than he met it in 2015. Imams and senior Islamic scholars also visited the president. They congratulated him while reminding him of the obligations of leadership.
We will continue to complete the projects we started, and will no doubt introduce more for the benefit of our country. As for the few challenges that we are witnessing, including kidnappings, armed robberies, and illicit drug consumption, I assure you that we will, inshallah, tackle them in the same manner we dealt with Boko Haram.
Both groups, however, promised to pray for the success of President Buhari's administration. From the presidential villa, Ibrahim Adra, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, Atlantic Ocean incursion causes panic in oil-rich communities in Ondo State. Stay with us.